Yep.
Oh, 21st night of September.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Oh, we're
Amazing.
live. Amazing. What is Earth,
Wow.
Wind, and Fire Day?
Do you remember? There's
Oh, the
something
band.
about... Yeah, yeah. It's
Oh,
the day that they mention in the song.
It's the day that they membered.
The day. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! It actually was feeding back into the stream. Was feeding back for a second,
There
and
we
I
go.
started singing to myself. All right,
wow.
yeah. Earth, Wind, and Fire Day.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a mem.
I think I know that song.
Okay.
So happy member day,
I don't know
everybody.
what that means. But I don't want to know what that means.
Yeah, we
That
can't
probably means
start. We
something-
can't start off with that energy.
It probably means something naughty. I don't want to hear it. Yeah. I'm very tired. Oh, yeah. So you had COVID. Jeremy
Why are
had
you
COVID.
tired? Why are you tired?
Why am I tired?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think, believe it or not, I am tapering off of clonazepam or Klonopin for the first. I've been on it kind of not for any real reason. I don't think it's doing anything other than making me not feel like shit when tapering off of it. I'm on a pretty low
no.
dose for over 10 years, and
Okay.
I just started tapering off for the first time. And
And that just makes you tired all the time.
a little nauseated.
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
little. I haven't had too much trouble sleeping yet. But if you read like clonazepam or Klonopin withdrawal or any benzo withdrawal, it's like
Yeah, it's not
worse
pretty.
than heroin. It's
Yeah.
like terrible. So I'm just like, hopefully it's okay. If not, I'll just keep taking it. But yeah.
That sucks,
And then
man.
you're just in to have diarrhea real bad all the time.
Do you know what is making me make this decision is NAM, weirdly, in January. 'Cause
Really?
I was like, oh, because I was talking to like my psychiatrist and I was like, oh, I need to make sure that like I have enough extra pills for that trip because you can't get them out of state. And then I was like, maybe I'll just taper off and then keep the extra bits. And then I was like, maybe I'll just taper off in general just because, you know, it's probably not good to take for the rest of your life. I've
Yeah.
had the Zaps before. Where is that?
Oh, I fucking hate those. When I was
I've had that
much
from
younger,
SSRIs. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on something called Effexor,
Mm-hmm.
for I think I had like some bipolar stuff going on, and I was it sucked because like when you have a drug for or a medication for bipolar disorder like or manic depressiveness, like it tries to address both sides, which
Yeah.
of course just like steamrolls your fucking personality. And I was like, this really sucks. So as I was young, I was like probably like 22 or something, and I was like, I'm going to stop taking this. And my brain was like, hey, would you like to lose microseconds every few minutes to these like literal brain fucking stutters where reality just shudders
Yeah.
for a second? And I was working as a bike messenger at the time, and that was really fun when I was riding a
Jesus.
bicycle around Seattle.
There's
So it was kind of like an in real life version of like server lag, where like your ping would just get really high for
Kinda.
a
No,
It's-
it's very,
it's like-
very weird.
the best way to describe it, and I think it's because it's called the Zaps. It's
Yeah.
it's literally like somebody just like touches you with 120 volts.
Yep.
Like for a moment, and you'll just go like that, and like it. For me, it was always the worst when I was trying to fall asleep because I would be like half asleep, and then I would have like a vivid half dream of like I remember for some reason it would always happen where like it would be something hitting me in the dream, and then it would like predict the zap. Like somebody would like have a basketball and be like, think fast, and then it would hit me in the face, and I'd wake up with a zap. I'd be like, wow, this is fucking crazy.
The
But
fact
this
that
is
like you're like
awesome.
non-linearized time for some reason that your brain
Right.
knew it was like it's
Yeah.
so fucking weird. So yeah, don't
Yeah.
just don't cold turkey SSRI kids. It's not fun. It's not worth it.
yeah,
Gotta taper
it's-
that shit.
I have beta blockers. I just haven't taken them really, just
Mm.
because I'm too worried that they'll make me pass out.
Oh, alpha blockers. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what alpha, but I mean, what do alpha blockers do in comparison to beta blockers? Other than
Yeah.
like make me not manly anymore. It's like, it blocks my alpha. Like right now, I got the beta blockers because I'm not a fucking beta.
Yeah.
The alpha.
That's why I take beta blockers every morning.
Oh my god, that was a terrifyingly accurate and maybe
Yeah.
unintentional Alex Jones
yeah,
impersonation.
yeah.
Yeah, Roy Dick.
So I guess do we get into NobCon?
We could. I want to know what an alpha blocker is.
I
How
have
bad
no
is
idea.
it compared to smoking?
Smoking
Man.
is so much worse. Smoking is the hardest
No,
thing.
I think they mean how bad is the withdrawal?
Yeah, I
compared
think.
to smoking.
Oh,
I
then
think the
SSRIs. I thought you meant.
Oh,
then,
SSRIs.
I was
yeah,
like Klonopin. Like
Klonopin,
yeah,
no,
like,
yeah,
Klonopin's
that's-
like up there with fentanyl.
Yeah,
Like,
sorry, my bad.
yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, no, smoking is. Yeah, tobacco's hard to get off of. It's, you know, I'm the first person to ever say that.
Yeah.
No, but
How could you say something so brave? From what I understand, smoking goes after. It's like acetylcholine, and acetylcholine does bind with similar receptors to what cocaine binds to. So, yeah, good stuff. You know, that's all you need to really know.
it's your
about
reward
that.
system. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the other thing. It's like you get to self-reward whenever you want with smoking. So it's very hard. It's very difficult, and that's
I
why
feel like-
whenever I go to like NobCon or Berlin for a super booth, I'm gonna fucking smoke because it's like my
feel
body
like
still wants it.
Vaping is obviously like it has to be better for you than actually smoking in terms of just like general
The
lung health.
carcinogens, yeah.
But when you do think about just being able to be like, you
Yep.
know, like and get that hit of nicotine without having
Yep.
to, you know, smoke the entire cigarette or go outside or, you know, things like that. I feel like it's, yeah.
But
Yeah,
then you
it's-
got to go to a vape shop, and there's a bunch of like dudes in there, like, dude, have you tried unicorn cum? It's so good.
Oh, they all taste the same because I used to vape all the time, and you start and then I started making my own flavors, and I didn't even
yeah,
have
of
like
course.
nicotine in them. But then I realized like they're all the flavors, like you could just taste the combination of like the same flavor. Thing. You know, there's only like 200 of them that they kept like mixing, unless they were making their own extract or whatever.
I think
but-
for me though, quitting vaping was like harder than quitting smoking because vaping is like very
sucked.
excusable.
Yeah.
yeah.
I always felt
Right.
embarrassed. Like I switched
Yeah.
to it because it was like healthier, but I really always felt embarrassed when I had to do it outside my
But
house.
then I ended up vaping probably more than I'd ever smoked.
Absolutely.
It is kind of douchey. Like
Yeah.
now, I didn't think it was when I was vaping. Like when I was vaping, I was just like, I'll blow some sick clouds. But now,
Hell yeah, bro.
Now I feel like I might. Yeah, I don't know. I was just on the Mr. Bill podcast yesterday, and he's
Oh.
vaping, and I'm kind of interested in hearing how the podcast sounds if he's gonna like edit out the
The vaping.
sounds, you know, like while we were doing it. But yeah.
Mr. Bill, if you ever sell your fucking gear, you got to tell people you vaped it next to it. Like that's legally you're obligated to divulge that you vaped.
I
I
wonder.
actually had
if-
someone on Reverb ask me that. I've been selling a bunch of stuff lately, and someone was like, "Do you have any cats? And have you vaped in your studio?" And I was like,
So,
"Oh, yeah, I guess
yeah, if
vaping
it-
does
'cause-
leave like goo everywhere."
It's
if
gooey.
vegetable glycerin.
It's
The
so
propylene
gooey.
glycol. Some vapes are just propylene glycol, which is fine. Vegetable glycerin will make it sticky. And then, you know what is really like what I feel must leave like is weed, vaping weed. Like 'cause
Oh,
you feel
sure.
it on the back of your throat, and like you have to like drink something, otherwise you'll continue coughing. Like that's rough. Did you know that you can't vape weed on a stream? By the way.
No, I
Oh,
didn't.
is that like a rule?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
I'm
Or
not
it used to be.
surprised.
Maybe they changed it, but you can't. Yeah, you can't. Because when I first started streaming, I was just like hitting a weed vape on one of my first ones, and everybody's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you doing, dude? You're gonna get banned." I was like, "Okay, sorry." Yeah,
Whoops.
not that I even.
So
do
you
that
switched
much,
to so you switched to gambling instead.
Yeah.
but- Yeah, no, I just play online poker on all my streams.
And then works out and takes beta blockers to keep the beta away.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just getting jacked.
Did you guys have a good time at NobCon?
yeah.
Did you enjoy NobCon?
Always a good time. It's such a chill event compared to everything else, which is awesome. I feel like you really get to talk to people at NobCon compared to NAMM, where it's kind of like a bunch of little 5-minute interactions back to back.
I didn't really get to see that much, but you know, I mean, I like was around, but I didn't really get to like shop around and look at all that.
Yeah.
I did. Where is it? Here it is. I did get.
Oh yeah, everyone
this,
should talk about what they got at
Oh,
NobCon.
yeah.
I didn't
So
try
how's
it
that
yet.
going for you?
But yeah, for anybody interested, it's like a.
Tell us about this thing because it has the guy behind it is very very interesting. Like
Yeah,
he's a character.
yeah. I don't know what to do with the buttons. I'll figure it out once I. But yeah, I think it like reads your lip motion, and then it's like a USB.
What?
I wonder if I plug it in right now, if it'll just. I mean, I'll just get a virus immediately on my computer.
Yeah. No, it's just a Trojan.
Apparently, it has a sound generator on it.
Oh, could you just play it into the mic?
Maybe we'll find out shortly. Apparently, it has like an 8-bit sound on it, but it also is a USB controller. But
Are you sure it's just not a vape?
It's just a giant vape. Yeah.
it's just a bong. Yeah, I don't. Oh wait, it's on.
Oh shit.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
I heard that.
I know.
You have to-
It's like.
I heard something. Yeah.
I think. Beautiful.
That's awesome.
It sounds. You know what it sounds like? It's like one of those.
The fact that that's a digital sound, that there's like circuitry involved just to make that, like the. Sorry. I don't know what this thing does.
I
Okay, I get it now. Oh. That's really
Great.
weird.
I'll take 2.
remix contest.
The fact that it's. I don't know what these holes are for. I feel like that question has been asked in other scenarios.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, okay. So I don't know how to play the saxophone, so. Yeah, I have no idea. We'll figure it out. But yeah, it's green, which means go, I guess.
Is it changed? Is
Well,
it
It
color,
changes
color
colors.
changing?
It
Play
just
with
switched
that
to
later.
blue.
It is a vape then.
Yeah, so I bought that for $200 and something. It's called the Muse. Muse Electronic Instrument. Yeah, and the guy who made it seems really interesting. It's just this
So it's
old fellow.
absolutely worth it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it seems like an endorsement to me.
I think it's like the second one he sold. So
Forever. He's been
Yeah.
in business
So-
since 1989.
And what was it supposed to do? It's like just like a MIDI controller that's like
Yeah,
expressive.
it
Okay.
it controls your. Yeah, I guess it like sends your mouth notes to MIDI.
And then
I-
probably like MIDI CCs for like expression, or like does it do any kind of breath controller stuff as well?
I think so. Yeah.
I would hope so.
You spent
really- let's just
$200
look
on
at
this.
the-
It doesn't do anything other than that little sound you just got out of it. That's it.
It's completely unquantized.
Let's load her up. I'm gonna. Oh, weird. Okay. Let's take a look at the Zen flute. We could read all about it. If I could figure out how to present the Zen flute to everyone.
You need to.
I just like
Thank
the
you
word
for coming
present.
to my TED Talk.
I like the word present in general. Like I present to you the Zen
The Zen
flute.
flute.
There it is.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. It didn't really answer any questions there.
What is this font?
That's the Zen flute font. It's
well,
This
custom.
font offends me.
I will tell you one thing. So
Hold on a second. What?
Why was this put through waifu
What?
diffusion? This is absolutely waifu diffusion. I swear.
is it? I don't know what that is.
That looks so much like it.
Was it called? I could actually probably go onto Midjourney right now and switch it to the anime one and do this. I'm gonna try it real quick just to see if I can get something similar.
Protein flute. About me. Wait, that's not him.
I assume that was him.
No, he's
Oh.
not Asian.
Oh,
I mean, I don't. This person looks kind of Asian, but he's not Asian. He's a Caucasian.
how
man.
far off is that from how he looks in real life?
Very. I mean, he is like kind of, he has white hair. He's balding. He's
I apparently
tall and
missed
thin.
this booth.
It wasn't a booth. He just met him out like you're a
Yeah.
dumpster in the back.
What is happening back here? Like, is this is just like a
That's
meat
totally
in a little bag?
It's
But
a
look at the
Midjourney.
text on the
Yeah, it's
labels
just-
on the thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's totally AI.
What, you don't have a Sheno drawer? You don't have one that has like meat dogs in it?
It's a drawer full of like raw hot dogs.
Dude, this is my boo back, my oob. This is my meat wolf.
Meat dogs. Oh, Meat Wolf. I
Yeah,
fucking
Meat
love
Wolf.
Meat Wolf.
And then it
Meat
just
Wolf is
like,
great.
but I like how it's just in like Arial or Times New Roman, just big bold Zen at the top.
Is
Like
this,
this is
is this like an anime style keyboard? There's like 4.
Well, he's got one of those Keith McMillan things underneath that. It looks like.
that keyboard's just like for when you're really angry. You just yeah.
And then maybe some sort of like tofu in sauce with like a soy sauce dipping thing next to it.
It's like a very like 2D tofu, 2-dimensional tofu.
so what is the story
He was
for
such
this?
a nice guy too. I feel, but I mean, yeah, this is a little odd. Oh, this interesting map too. What is the story?
Located in Wisconsin, far
Yep.
from the bright centers of synthesizer development, one man had a dream.
Wait, does it actually say that?
No.
Oh,
Far from the bright centers of synthesizer development, searches a new path for personal musical expression,
Where are
free
the
from
bright-
the limitations.
where are the
Convention.
bright centers of synthesizer development?
Berlin,
Okay.
maybe.
Hmm.
Very bright. Berlin. I guess that's about it. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
live in
like-
Berlin, but
China.
it's given me.
China. That's where it is. It's a very bright synthesizer.
God.
Yeah.
Truly, truly magnificent. I do hope that you do some.
I like how
assuming you're gonna do, like, a
refunds
stream.
and returns is one of the top tabs on the website.
Oh no.
He was very like, to me, he was very much like, if you don't like it for any reason, let me know and I'll
Okay, well,
That's
respect.
chill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool.
I like that.
And the person in the booth next to him was like, "Whoa, landed the big dogs, huh?" Like he got and he was like, "Huh?" And I guess you just never seen any of our channels or anything.
Oh,
which
cool.
Is,
Yeah.
but
Good.
Yeah, it was
No,
at
good.
NotCon
That's
that
good.
was
better
refreshing.
for you.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, hello, hi, hello, other human being person that doesn't already know a bunch of things about me."
Yeah.
But
Well, hopefully it gets worked into some media that I can consume because I am very curious about it in general. I want you to master it. Electronic wind instruments are not easy to master at all. They're
Yeah.
really not.
Could you
Yeah.
use this to recreate from your old Arturia V collection video where there's that like DX7 guy with the breath controller? Could you recreate that with this?
oh god, that yeah.
That I would watch.
I have a breath controller around here somewhere. Tech control or something. I did a video on it like 40 years ago. You actually have to blow air into it, and I remember almost passing out. I was like trying to play giant steps on it, and like because you just like put it in your mouth and then you like play on the keyboard. And I remember like I just forgot to breathe, and I got like really dizzy.
Oh
Like,
my
I was just
God.
like, oh yeah, you have to like breathe too. I forgot that.
There is I think it's the Yamaha VP1. Hold on one second. What is this? It's this crazy ass physical modeling synth that they had back in the day. I'm surprised you don't know what this is called right off the bat.
Oh yeah.
The VL
yeah.
one. The VL one.
Yeah.
It's got like a wood paneling on it and everything. I desperately want to try one, just because it sounds very interesting. They go for like $4,000
Yep.
if you can find one. But what I didn't realize about it is that it actually comes with a breath controller, and that's how you're supposed to interact with a lot
Oh,
of the
boy.
patches. Yeah, look at that.
So I've played with it, not with the
Yeah,
breath
there it is.
controller. But, yeah. If you go to NAMM, if either one of you go to NAMM this year, if we're in California, I do
Mm-hmm.
plan on checking out going to Yamaha's new facility there, and they do have like
Oh.
pretty much everything that they've made over the years in there. And I was thinking about like hiring a camera person.
and doing like a little mini walkthrough documentary.
Yeah,
kind
just
of thing.
like checking it out and doing all that stuff.
That'd be
Why does
cool.
the color of that keyboard scream like mom's sedan?
It has that vibe. It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
They
really
were-
just
they-
screams like, yeah.
they were on a
this
tear
is
for a little bit. There was a
1994. Yeah.
yeah, they had a rack mount too of a convolution reverb that was all that wood paneling stuff, and it just screams
Oh.
like vapor wave. It's beautiful, or like liminal space, but it's all pools.
That's
all
epic.
like, yeah.
Oh God.
What?
Tonguing.
Oh no.
That's. Oh, I see. I thought you meant like I thought this had like a tongue reader. Okay, no, it doesn't. Okay. Yeah.
If you ever want to
You
feel,
just tongue it anyway.
if you want to feel confused and well, actually, how could I better put this? The Eigenmatrix editor for the Osmos
Yeah.
is not the first absolutely terrifying physical modeling editor that exists. The MIDI Quest XL program has an editor for that Yamaha thing, and it is inscrutable. Like I cannot figure out what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now.
It's
God,
got a
MIDI
lot
Quest.
MIDI Quest rocks. And
Yeah.
well, not, it doesn't rock. It's very useful. It's not very.
Oh, I
it's
wonder-
not very fun.
I want to. Yeah, I'd like to know more about that company. I'd like to. Not even. I don't want to like do a video on them, but okay, they're in Victoria, BC.
Oh,
I feel like it's one person. Well, no, they have like a bunch of different emails. Huh. Anyway, yeah.
they're interesting. I mean, like they every single time a synth. Well, like I'll get a synth, a hardware synth, and like a Blofeld, for instance, and I'll like be like, okay, well, it'd be nice to have an editor, and then like I'll look around and there'll be like all these weird third-party editors, and some of them will work in some situations, and some of them won't work in other situations. And after a while, after going through this like 3 or 4 times with vintage synthesizers, you're just like, well, fuck, I could just shell out for MIDI Quest and have like literally all of them in one place.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, wait. So MIDI Quest. Got it now. I understand now. Okay, I thought there's that other company that like makes interfaces for older synths, like
Oh,
just
no,
sells
no,
stuff
no, no.
for $60. Okay, I was confusing it with that.
Oh, the hardware
Yeah.
boxes?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
not that.
They just like make. Okay, this is interesting. Sorry, I feel like every time I share my screen, it gets boring, and then I turn around. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is probably really useful.
It's super useful. One of the things I like about it, not to get too deep into it though, is that you can do a lot of like patch permutation within the software. So
Yeah.
you can take one patch and say fuzz this patch for me, and it will like make a bunch of versions around that. You can take 2 patches and say interpolate between these 2, and it will create a whole new bank of 128 sounds that are like the interpolations between those 2 patches. So you could like have a
that's
pad
sick.
over here and a lead over here. It's really, really cool. They have one for the Prophet X. I haven't used it yet. But yeah,
Man, if
it's
I could
like-
do that with my Iridium, I'd be in business.
I can't. I mean,
Whoa.
I don't know if they have. Yeah. So that is that all the instrument definitions there.
Jeez.
It's cool stuff.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, I know a few people that have this, and they all speak very, very highly of it, but a lot of them are using like vintage gear that is just terrible interfaces, so this is like the only way they can actually edit things.
Yeah.
How is
It's
this?
pretty cool.
Yeah, some of this I don't even understand. A JX305 editor? What? Oh my god.
And if you listen carefully
Oh,
in the
that's
distance,
rad.
you can hear Ben's credit card swiping.
Yeah. No, I'm in. I'm totally in. This is this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's
if
really,
that-
really useful.
Yeah.
If that had an Iridium editor, or at least like a half decent one, that would be awesome.
Are there any?
I don't think so. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much to the Iridium that I don't know that it could all be mapped. But the
It
only
would-
thing
it would
the
need to
only
look
thing
like
I hate
pigments,
about
basically.
the Iridium is the FM engine. That's the one thing with the Iridium that pisses me off. Like, I cannot enjoy the FM engine of it.
Why do you not like it?
It's like
This
Ben is
website's
ordering
so
it now.
old. No, I'm just like, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
that's
it's-
expensive, but I mean, I feel like it's worth it.
And
that's
they
like
will
Sample
do
Robot or something. where
They
it's
will
like,
do. You have to pay for like the upgrades. And now I don't really know exactly what it is that you get when you like go from like 13 to 14, but just know that like it is paid upgrades when you have to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
the-
this is a lot of work. I'm just surprised that this is a business plan somewhere. That's incredible.
Well, I mean, what alternative is there?
Well, no, I mean for us,
Right.
but I just mean for them.
Oh,
Like,
that someone
the
decided to do.
alternative is
Yeah.
like owning a Chick-fil-A or something. But yeah, that's like something a little more. But yeah, that's pretty
Cameron,
cool.
what is wrong with the FM engine, or what
It's
do you
just
think?
like really, really tedious to use. And I think it's just because most of the FM engine on the Iridium kind of relies on the touchscreen, which mine is not great. I don't know what it is. Like the touchscreen on my Iridium is very temperamental, which is annoying. So, but I think it's just because the FM stuff in the Iridium is so complex that, you kind of have to use the dials and the touchscreen and do all that. And just routing it kind of sucks. And it's just not a whole lot of fun to use, which is annoying because the reason I got the Iridium was I really wanted an Op6 at the time too.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, the Op6 does FM really well, but it does like cool stuff with FM where it could do AM or RM or whatever. And the Iridium does all that. And I was like, oh, well, hell, I'll just get an Iridium because it does all the wavetable-y, sampley, granular stuff I've been looking for, but it does FM too, so I don't need the Op6. And yeah, like every once in a while I still think of buying an Op6 just for like a hardware FM synth that doesn't make me want to smash my face into my desk.
I hate to tell you, but the Op6 is a real good synth. It's a good friend.
Well, currently I'm still lusting after the Sub 37 a little bit, so we'll see what
Oh
happens.
yeah, so you got to play one of those on the way at the end of NobCon. You went to
on the way home from NobCon, yeah.
Yeah, and it lived up to the hype.
Yeah, like I've noodled with them a little bit before, but that time I really got to, because like the other times I've seen them has been in like a Guitar Center and there's a bunch of people around, so I can't really like hear it. But the Sweetwater store, there wasn't really anyone there that day, so I really got to play like 20 or 30 patches through it, just noodling around, and man, it just sounds amazing. And it was funny because in going through some of the patches, and I assume it was just the factory bank that was on it, but I swear I was like, I think this is in the Sicario soundtrack, or like, I'm pretty sure this patch is in Zero Dark 30, but it just has like that sound. So I don't know, I really, really want one, but now the new Polybrood update is here, and that's pretty damn good too.
Oh yeah, what do they do? It's like the new distortion, right?
New distortions, new
I haven't
tuning
checked that out
options, new I think there's a couple new mod options, and then you can route the effects slots a little differently, and that's really good. And like the distortion on the Polybrood really helps get closer to that like Sub 37 feel. But there's just something with like the Moog filter and the Moog like or what do they call it, multi-drive on the Sub 37 or whatever, and it just sounds really, really good. But
it's huge. It sounds big.
Yes, and I barely have the space for anything new in here, and I just sold a whole bunch of shit on Reverb, so now naturally my brain is like, let's buy new things.
Nature abhors a vacuum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's gonna be a new montage?
Yeah, rumor has it that okay, so they know about the Annex, they know about Montage M.
What's the ANX? Wait, ANX is.
I don't think I'm just going to read the article because I can't tell. Okay, so just so everybody knows, I can't really say. I've worked on this for over 3 years.
Oh,
like,
fair enough.
This
Okay.
has been like, at one point, I feel like this was almost my day job. Like I've put hundreds of hours into this piece of
just as an aside though, when you say ANX, right, I immediately think of the AN1X, like that really well thought of blue, like I don't know, like virtual analog synth that Yamaha used to have.
Yes.
And it'd be cool if they were bringing something like that back.
Yes.
Okay.
It would be
Thank
very
you.
cool.
It would be super cool.
An awesome time for anybody who gets this.
Speaking of virtual analog things, what do you guys think of the Alesis Micron and Ion, if you're familiar with those? I still think that is the best sounding virtual analog synth I've ever played.
That's my
Have
dog.
you guys
I'm
ever
gonna close
messed
my
with
door.
them?
I have messed with the Micron, yeah.
I'm trying to think what the best. Yeah, I don't know.
Because I
Virtual
very
analog.
briefly had a Micron, and the sound of that blew me away. I could not believe that was like a sort of little off the wall, super cheap VA synth. That sounded amazing.
I don't think I thought it sounded amazing. I
Really?
mean, I would much rather have like an Access Virus A or B or something like that,
Right.
compared to that. And the other thing about the Micron is that it's like really not fun to program, I felt.
Micron sucked. Yeah.
Yeah. The Ion, I never got a chance to use. I'm sure it was. I actually really wanted one for a long time because you like look at those things and they're really cool looking. Anyways, what's up with this montage shit? What's going on?
It is the most powerful synthesizer ever created. That's me saying that, but that's wow. I'm excited to hear the demos. I wonder if I'll be able to hear my own work in the demos. Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Oh, so is the ANX engine part of is that what's going on here?
Well, that montage back there, the old school, the OG one, it just has like the sample, and then it has like a massive FM engine with, I mean, I think the FMX engine, which, so the AWM2 is like all the samples. That's like Contact or something, right? Then the
Sure.
yeah, and then but it has a bunch of stuff. But yeah, the FM stuff I think is what's really powerful about it in terms of like synthesis. Is
So do I buy a Moog Sub 37 or do I wait?
You can get a Moog. No, it's not going to be the same
Jeremy's,
at all.
do it,
Just get
do
the
it,
Moog.
do it.
I don't think there's anything out there that is like the Sub 30 that's going to like completely supplant the Sub 37.
Right. Well,
honestly.
and then like for the style of music I do too. I was like the Sub 37 is that.
Yeah.
Like that thing.
how much do MS? I see this comment here. How much do MS 2000s go for these days? I wonder.
Oh, that's a good question. I
Yeah.
really
I
like
feel
that.
like I see him on
'Cause I have one
Reverb
right
every
over
so
there.
often.
Yeah,
Let's see. I'm going to check Reverb real quick.
and I
I
never
think it
turn
was
mine on.
Madeira on YouTube if anyone else watches their
Oh,
channel.
yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I love their channel. But I've seen some like jams they've done with the MS-2000 and it was
Yep.
like, holy shit,
The
that was
rack
really, really
ones
good.
are as cheap as 384.
Yeah, and a keyboard one looks like 500.
That's pretty
which is
reasonable then.
a really great price, I think, for that synth. That synth is pretty legit.
Yeah.
What
I
about
don't
the
think
Radius? Because the
I don't think-
Radius has
I'm
the
not familiar
same...
with that's also Korg, right? Korg Radius.
It's such a weird looking synth. Yeah, the Korg
I don't know much
Radius
about that one.
thought had...
Wait until, if you think that the montage is expensive, wait until you play with the Rangers, because my God, it's like
How's that
starting
going? Are you
price
still
of-
just like, have you slept in the last 3 days, or have you just been
Dude.
arranging?
dude? I'm
yeah.
borrowing it. I'm borrowing
Oh,
it
you're borrowing it. Okay.
from Zounds. They've lent it to
Oh,
me.
okay.
And
They sell that?
yes.
Oh,
yes. And I want one. So I can't, I'm trying so hard to talk myself out of it. I don't need any more gear. And this thing, if you look at the ins and outs of the PA5X, tons of inputs and outputs. You can have all of the different patterns and stuff that are pre-programmed. You could make your own as well, and they're like playable along with you. And you can have them control outboard gear. And then you could even loop it back in. It has an input
So it has
for
like
microphone.
a mixer in it?
Yes, and it has
Holy
an
shit.
input for your microphone. It has auto-tuning, vocal harmony effects like a choir. It also has a guitar input with an amp simulator. You can literally play a fucking show. Yeah, like you could just be like, yeah, I mean, just start with Wesley Willis and go up from there.
So-
and that's what this is. It's
For
incredible.
the video you did a little while ago where it was like your last show or whatever, and the drama that will not be spoken of thing with Akai and whatever, you had the big
Montage.
like you went with
what
the
did I play
montage.
with?
Well, you bought like an Akai thing, and it was supposed
Yeah.
to like take over
Oh,
as the
yeah.
brain.
Right.
Could
Yeah.
you have done that show, like what you would normally do with your montage and your regular setup? Is that like a viable alternative if it's that powerful?
Yeah, so
Holy
it,
shit.
So it like loads. So like each one of these buttons is a different sound that's all loaded at the same time. Like it essentially, I think it's loading like 16 sounds at once. And then you could just go through presets immediately. Like
Shit.
but the montage is the same way. Like that's just the deal. Is like this is for people who are going to be using it on stage. So like you need to be able to move things constantly. And so when I was rehearsing with MPC Key 61,
That was
I'd go from like piano to pad or something, or pad to piano probably is a better example because that takes longer to load the whole piano thing. And even when like using multiple instruments at once, it would run out of RAM, or it would take at best 4 seconds, and I didn't have 4 seconds. You know, that's like 3 bars of music where I'm not playing over
Right.
it, and I was just,
But this like basically just preloads them.
Yeah. So like, oh yeah. Like everything is sort of preloaded. That's just sort of the way that it works.
Damn.
Oh. No, I think they'll pay for shipping back, I hope. Dude, Zounds, by the way, Zounds is I didn't really realize this until I was talking about this right before we began. Zounds is they don't carry anything on their website that they can't ship like tomorrow, which like,
sounds so
really?
simple. It sounds so
I
simple,
know.
but
it's just like why can't I live in a parallel universe where every single store is like
So
that?
if I order something, I don't get an email the next day that says it'll be there next year, probably.
Yeah, no Sweetwater with that. Yeah,
Okay.
no Sweetwater treatment. Or no like back in stock soon. Save in your wish list.
Oh
Like,
yeah. We've saved your position in line. Those emails piss me off.
Yeah, but if you order it, it's there. If it's not there, it's not on the website. They just hide it, which is like, yeah, amazing.
I saw they had the sub 37 too.
oh, there you go.
Damn it.
Oh,
well, first I,
I
need that
may have an
jacket I want.
affiliate link for you.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I got to buy that jacket I want first, then I'll get a sub 37.
You didn't
Oh
buy
my
that?
God! Look
No,
who it
I
is.
gotta.
Hey, Nar.
Oh, man.
What's up?
What up?
Eggplant. Hey, what's
Eggplant?
What are we eggplanting?
He's just shown us his eggplant.
Nar.
Oh,
I know that I'm pretty sure that he is a big fan of you getting the sub 37.
A big fan of the
Does-
sub 30. Okay, well,
Yeah.
jacket,
does
then sub
Noir
37.
does Noir? You use Streamlabs, right? StreamYard, right? Noir. I think I logged onto your. You can hop on if you want. You're more than welcome. I'm paying for like 50 people, so if you want, I'll send you.
Oh
a
my
link
God.
on Twitter.
Someone named Bob says they own 3 sub 37s, and I hope that's true.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. As if
That way I can have polyphony.
So wait, you though, so you didn't get the jacket. I'm disappointed
I did
about
not.
that.
Need to sell some more samples.
How much
first.
was it?
It was $300, and I want it real bad.
It looked really good.
Well, it's like an actual, like real, like jacket.
Like,
yeah,
Is it leather?
yeah,
Is
it's real leather and stuff. Which
Yeah.
I was like, that goes hard, and it's a really nice fit and everything. But
I just saw
Yeah.
a tweet. It says Pro Tools went back to being able to buy perpetual licenses today.
no way.
I don't believe it. Do you want to say anything about that?
Oh,
Ben,
pro.
Avid.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you don't. You probably do not want to say anything.
No, yeah, no, I can't speak about like their problem with me, but I could speak about their. Yeah, I could say anything about their. But I do want to look at their stock performance because I bet it crashed today, and it did.
Oof.
All right, let me look at that really fast.
Why do you think that they would have done this? Like, do you think that they realized that they were getting hurt by just subscription?
I think they were probably testing to see what would happen, to see if it would have that big of a. Let me present. I love.
Sure.
I just love that word so much. Let me present. I don't know, because I just imagine like if you've ever been, like I imagine like going to like a Indian restaurant or something. Then being like, let me present you your food. Like I really like that. Like that's really it's so cute. Okay, so yeah, it looks like that news probably. Let's see if we could zoom. Yeah, no, I don't really see
No,
any sort
that's
of
weird.
significant
It's
difference.
flat as hell. Yeah.
There was a little bit of a sell-off, but yeah, nothing like.
No one really cared.
Yeah.
They're just like, whatever.
Yeah, these are my short positions, like on this particular. Yeah, they get massacred every quarterly report if you notice.
That's
That's
terrible.
pretty-
That's really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, these are like quarterly reports, like just quarterly crashes. But yeah,
God.
Oh, Avid.
another big short for me was Curiosity.
Oh, Curiosity Stream.
Got to zoom out here to scale
Gotta
that
keep
in.
going. Yeah, it takes
Oh
a
my
while.
God.
Oh, my fingers getting. Yeah. So, yeah, this was
Whoops.
my short when I opened the short position. This is about when I left it. Yeah, from. Yeah.
Everything's bullshit. It's all in
What You know what's not bullshit is the
The Moog Sub 37.
no, well, yes, that is not bullshit. No, the landscape noon. Tell us about your landscape noon. We still got NobCon here. We got to talk about.
Yeah, we should, and then we got to answer people's questions too.
Oh God.
Yeah, the landscape noon. Man, what a weird thing. I played.
You're gonna have to tell us what it is, because I don't think
I'll
everyone
just,
is familiar with it.
Here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Because I've been working on a sample pack of this for the last 3 days. Which
that's exciting.
I sent you guys some clips of in the chat, and it sounds fucking crazy. Okay, so this is the noon, or Ben is presenting, I think. It's a passive drum synth, and it runs off the CV that you feed it to sequence it. So there's no power.
Yeah.
Every voice on it, if you want to call them that, also interacts with the other voices. So you could click in these buttons, which my understanding is that seems to pass through more of the signal in different ways. It passes
it through to the one next to the right of it, I believe.
Yeah, and you can stop and change different combinations of that. Even the smallest fader movements do crazy changes. So
it's really wild,
really weird.
It does not explain itself.
It does cool drone stuff too, which I've been experimenting with a little bit, of just holding down a sustained note and moving the sliders to get these really weird organic drone textures. So I think after I get this sample pack done and hopefully make enough money to buy that jacket, then I want to do a drone library with the Noon, because it makes some really weird textures. But I bought this because I really wanted a Pulsar 23, because I had a good experience with that, and then I really wanted the Lyra 8. But I couldn't convince myself to jump onto either, because the Pulsar was just too expensive to seem worth it, because it was kind of a case use thing. Even though it does some really cool stuff, I just couldn't convince myself to spend that much on it. Lyra 8, I don't know how to say it, but it's really, really cool, but it only does the Lyra 8 thing. But this, it's somewhere in between, where it does a lot of different textures and movements and ideas, and that's why with this, and then the Elmira 2, which I have back there, the Elmira is kind of the Lyra, but different, which I like to get long drones. And this reminds me a lot of the Pulsar for just
alpha-based
bizarre drums.
Yeah, and
very interested in a alpha-based 2. I had no idea.
Didn't they have one at NobCon, or they talked about it at NobCon?
They must have. Oh, it was at Super Booth. So we were talking about I think all of us that listened to the Landscape Noon at NobCon were run it through some fucking hard compression and some good distortion, and this thing is going to sound like it's going to be the shit. I was going to say another word and I didn't say that. I'm glad. Yeah. So, and you did that, and it sounded amazing. It sounded exactly as good as we thought it would.
Yeah, I've been pushing it through some of my usual, destroyer chains for big cinematic drum hits and whatever, and piping it through just a little bit of reverb to give it some space, and then just compressing the fuck out of that makes it sound massive. So really excited, and the samples I've got so far have turned out really, really cool, and the loops are really cool. And what's nice though is if you start, because I was using it with the KeyStep Pro, because my other sequencers don't seem to play very well with it. And using it with the KeyStep Pro, you could change between 5-volt and 12-volt gate signals.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
That's fucking rad.
I was going through, because I was I think I remember reading in the manual there's a way to switch between a gate and a single trigger. And I was looking for that, and then I found that you can swap between 5-volt and 12-volt gates. And the 5-volt and 12-volt give the whole thing a totally different sound. So then I was like, oh, sick. So I just left all the drum gates on 12 volts and made a whole nother batch of loops with it, because it was even the same settings, totally different result. So really interesting thing. It's not something I feel I'm going to use very regularly, but whenever I need just a bunch of cool loops and textures and ideas, or just something to kind of kickstart an idea, that seems what it's really handy for. I don't think it's an everyday thing. And that's why I didn't want to buy the Pulsar, as the Pulsar for me would not be an everyday thing. And that seems a little expensive to have as the thing I'm going to pull out every 2 or 3 months to make some loops with.
Hey, Jay is here.
Oh, Jay is the creator of MIDI News. MIDI News
have you heard about MIDI News?
Here we go. Yeah.
Great nonlinear sequencer. It's available on Steam for only $25.
We must convert to the cult of MIDI News.
have we seen this?
Whoa. No. What is that?
It's a neural network resonant neuron synthesis.
What the fuck does that mean?
I have no
Oh, what's
idea.
it called? I want to pull it up on my
Resonator neuronium.
Resonator.
Is this new?
Yeah, I guess so. A summing
It's
node.
on Vintage. Oh, Jomox made it.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, it's a Jomox thing. It's new.
Oh wow, it's already on Vintage Synth
Allegedly.
Explorer for some reason.
Well, let's shop for it. Oh, cheap. Wait, what currency is this? Oh,
These
this
came
is-
out and
oh,
started
sorry.
coming out in 2018.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
yeah.
Then this website hasn't been updated since 2018. So that makes sense.
Sick.
I mean, it looks cool. I don't know what to think of it.
It's- Yeah, it's an interesting year for. Okay, yeah. So that's a lot
Chrome?
of money. That's
The
Euro.
Vintage Synth Explorer last paragraph says the skyrocketing price of this instrument also means that it's only the most dedicated fans or anyone with a mountain of disposable cash that will be able to get their hands on one, even with the reissues. So I guess something about it was very difficult to produce. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what part of it was.
Huh.
Yeah, interesting.
Crazy.
Does it have the blockchain? It is the blockchain. That actually is the entire blockchain right there.
all of the internet is stored on this.
Oh, we have not talked about the 4MS meta module. And also somebody asked if MIDI-ness is
Oh, yeah.
possible to integrate with Pro Tools. Jay would have to answer that. I'm not 100% sure.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it has MIDI. Anything that's
Harvesting the neurons is expensive. Yes.
Well, because with MIDI Noose, you would clock the DAW from MIDI Noose's clock. So if Pro Tools accepts an external clock, which
if they've added that yet.
yeah, if that feature was added in the latest subscription update.
Yeah, that's
But yeah, MIDI Noose is great, and everyone should buy it on Steam for only $25.
I don't think this has germanium diodes. I think that this probably just has a board that's not made anymore, and they weren't selling enough to.
I'm gonna have to go look this up after the
Do the
stream. I've
R&D.
never heard of this thing.
Yeah, I'm afraid
It-
of how much it goes for.
Well-
Let me look at Reverb real quick, see how much.
Well, there's also a there's a plugin that does the neuronal drum. Oh, what is?
Oh
it?
yeah,
That
from
makes
Audio
it-
Damage.
Yeah, I own
yeah.
that, but-
I really like
Um,
that plugin actually.
Yeah.
$13,000.
Holy fuck!
Yeah. Are they
Okay,
actually
well,
selling it?
nope.
Are these
You can
long
yes,
boards?
you can get one right now on Reverb. There's one for There's one mint for 9,000, another one mint for 13,000. So pick your poison.
Yeah,
I guess.
I'm gonna
Holy,
have to sell a couple more sample packs for that.
you
Holy
might need
shit.
to hold off on that jacket for a little bit.
Yeah,
buddy.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'm gonna get.
Be right
Okay,
back.
first I need
I'm
the
gonna shudder
neuronium.
some noise really fast.
Do you want a
bothering
desktop
me.
synth or a used Honda Civic?
Yeah,
Someone in the
god
chat
damn,
said.
that's thing must be good. I don't know. Wow, that
Minnie-
is wildly
Minnie Mouse.
expensive.
Someone mentioned the
Uh,
Hartman neuron.
Hartman
as well.
Neuron, I've always wanted to play with. One.
I've
They
always
sound
wanted to play
really
with one.
wild.
Yeah, and they're beautiful looking. They're just like all orange LEDs and shit.
I would love to see Arturia do that in a future V collection.
That'd be fucking rad.
Yeah, I mean that might be a pretty hard one. Well, I don't know because like I think someone released it as a plugin years ago, if I
Ooh.
remember correctly. There
I'm
was
gonna
like
look that up real quick.
I swear there was a plug-in version of like the Neuron.
VST. Neuron VS. Is that what it is?
Maybe it was something a long
Um,
time ago, if I remember right.
Oh yeah, no, there is one. You're right.
And it was like Windows only, maybe or something like that.
Mac only.
Mac only. That
Unfortunately.
was it.
Yeah. Oh wow, it looks like a Logic instrument.
Yeah, so like I would love
I'm
to see Arturia take that and just reboot it into V Collection because the Neurons sounds wild, and I bet Arturia could do something really, really cool with
God,
that
the UI
engine.
for this is terrible.
Oh, yeah,
I'll,
no, it was-
I'll just drop this in the chat. It's something else. It looks like it looks somehow like worse than every Logic, OG Logic like interface
My
synth.
phone literally just started playing our stream. That is so. It literally just randomly. Okay.
That looks like Sculpture or something
HVAC
from
issues.
Logic, like the old
Mm-hmm.
Apple gray interface.
I like that it has a page for all of the joysticks though. It's pretty cool.
What goes on with the Steam Deck approval?
I thought Jay had MIDI news on Steam Deck on the way to NobCon.
Oh,
Yep.
Is
Yeah.
that why?
Oh.
Is that why you went to Red Lobster? Oh my God.
to play
Ben
MIDI
Ben
news
just
on my
left.
Steam Deck and the Red Lobster?
Ben just left, and someone said Ben doing his best impersonation of Hassan currently.
Yeah, dude, that's like a thing. Like I'm noticing that a lot. Like people have pointed that out where like there's these massive Twitch streamers and they've pointed out because they've been doing it with my videos and they'll just like
Oh,
play
no,
my video and then just leave.
Yeah,
And
React
it's just
Gate,
like-
man, it's so dumb. It's so bad.
Like, but yeah, it's just like kind of harvesting money from other creators in a weird way. Like it's just.
I'm
Yeah.
getting
There
pretty
was-
fed up with like reaction tube stuff. I don't.
Oh
really
no,
get
well,
it.
no, we're not supposed to talk about that.
Right.
What else did you get while you were at NobCon?
The Vectra.
The Vectra, tell us about that.
Yeah, you got a lot
Like
of
it so
stuff there.
far, but still cannot make sense of a lot of it. It's a very weird UI, but I'm kind of wrapping my head around it. The problem is a lot of the video tutorials on it that are on like the Future Retro channel are really, really long, and I feel like much of it could be condensed. So far so good. It's a weird architecture though, so it's 4 voices. It's digital voices, but analog master VCA and analog filter. But the digital side is true polyphonic, where each voice could have its own envelope and like VCA thereby. But the filter and the analog VCA are paraphonic. So that's kind of interesting to get used to where like you can use the filter, but just as like an overall tone control, which is fun to play with, where you kind of like do that. The sequencer I still don't understand, but so far really, really fun. I think I need to download like the factory library again or something though, because this one doesn't have an initialize patch on it,
Oh no.
which for me, like I don't know about you guys, but like whenever
Yeah,
I'm exploring
no,
a new synth, that's
absolutely.
the first thing I open, just because then it's like, okay, what does this do?
That's
Oh,
like-
okay.
I've thought about like changing the name of this stream to like where's the init, because every time I try out a plugin I'm like where's the goddamn init, and I end
Right.
up like yeah.
But
There's
so
a,
far, yeah, I like it. Cool percussive sounds, like surprisingly good at percussion.
There is a shortcut on most of the sequential and sequential like tangential synths, like the third wave and stuff like that, to init the current patch. Like you don't even have to go into a menu or anything like that. It's real nice.
Yeah, that's what I thought was weird with this, is there's nowhere in the menu just to be like, new preset. You
Cube is an easy
There you
init. I
Jason, it was
appreciated
nice
that.
meeting you at NobCon as well. I just wanted to say that someone said that in there.
But yeah, Vectra.
Thanks,
fun.
Jason.
And then the multiple ring mods in it is great too, where you can ring mod everything. So you can have like 4 ring mods going at once, which makes like really cool metallic percussion. But yeah, like the UI and UX needs some work. I'm hoping there's like a firmware update in the future that does that, because like especially browsing patches is kind of annoying because you have to scroll one at a time through the whole bank of like 500. So
I
it would
did
be
notice
nice
that.
if I could just tag it as like bass or lead or FX or sequence, so that way like I could load faster or something. Because it almost reminds me of like the Mini Freak or whatever, where it just needs like categories to browse because it does so many different things. The keys are fun though. I really like the capacitive touch. But yeah, still kind of getting used to it. I was gonna stream with it tomorrow, but I still don't feel confident enough with it yet.
Hey, Cameron. Check this out.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
I miss when times were good and simple.
Yeah,
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
for what it's worth, I've never finished a song, and I've never like written a song. I only used it for streaming. But there was another question here that tech UI sound of all time.
Oh.
What?
Do you mean like a something interacting you interact with in a like a piece of technology, and
Or
it
like
has
a startup
sound?
sound or something maybe.
Yeah.
I've written mnemonics for like Toyota and stuff.
Oh.
I've made many back in the day, but I guess they must mean like for a phone or something, or like
Probably.
yeah, or-
For me, it's anything involving like the last 10 years of video game console startup and idle sounds. So like anything of like the Xbox 360, Xbox, and then like the PlayStation like boot sound, and then the idle music, like the PS4 idle music or the PS5, the default idle music. Those are my favorite UI sounds. I guess that counts.
I'm getting really angry at the streaming service boot sounds. Like when you like open Netflix or open Hulu or
sure.
YouTube, even on any television or anything, and it's like, dude, I'm like, if I'm opening this, I'm fucking paying for it. Like I know I have it. You don't need to do any more branding on me. Like you got my money already. I can't
especially when you
give
forget
you
how loud your TV is, though. I've had that happen where I forget how loud my TV's turned up, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put on Netflix, and it's like, it's like, okay, Jesus, like thanks, got it.
And then it immediately jumps into a live preview of whatever, like you happen to be hovering.
Oh my god,
there.
that drives me insane on some of those apps where it's like, some show I don't give a fuck about, and it's like full blast, people yelling at each other or something dumb.
Yeah, I've done the Toyota mnemonic. They would change their mnemonic sound or like their brand identity sound like every 3 years, and I would always get those jobs in when I composed for ads and stuff. And
that's pretty neat.
Yeah, and it was really funny though because they would have this long description, and like we would just internally be like they're just gonna want something metallic sounding, and then like we would just make that, and they'd be like, yes, perfect. This isn't what we just asked for, but this is like for some reason.
That's a lot of sound design gigs like that where they're like, we need something that sums up our culture as a company, and da 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 da, and it's like they need it, but it has to be 3 seconds long, and it's like you just go ba-bung, and they're like, perfect.
Right. Yeah, I've done Dove, General Mills. General Mills is just like acoustic guitar harmonics, just in like a little scale, like do do do. Chase Bank, yeah, real good time. It's real. I have this long prostitution record.
Someone in here says, "Does the Brian Eno Windows sound count?" And absolutely fucking does. That's legendary.
I feel like I remember the Motorola Razr, like the first smart one.
I have not enabled my smartphone's sounds, UI sounds, in probably 4 smartphones or 5.
Oh yeah, no, my phone is constantly on silent anymore, especially since I got the Google Watch.
Right,
my phone is
no
just
idea
silent
what
now.
it sounds like. Like,
but I remember it was or was it just called Android? I don't know, but it was a Motorola, like one of the very first like big smartphones, and I remember getting that around.
Oh, the Motorola Droid.
That was it. Yeah, and I remember that I got that around maybe freshman year of high school or so. It was my first smartphone ever. Or no, that would have been later, sophomore year, junior year, something like that. I don't know. Anyways, but I remember turning that on, and I feel like that had a really cool like cool mechanical crazy thing when it turned on.
Was that the first Android phone? I'm looking at the Wikipedia now. I will present.
Thank you.
Yes. I present to you.
But I feel like maybe I'm misremembering it, but it was one of those. Like, it was one of my first smartphones that just had this really over-engineered like startup thing, and I was like, wow, that was pretty neat.
God, look at that thing.
Dude, I miss
it's beautiful.
So much.
It's so beautiful.
I miss the thumb pad so much.
I just saw one, the Sidekick. Remember those? Those were
those were huge.
I miss being able to type on a physical keyboard a lot. Like it's been many years since I've been forced away from it. And it's
when did that come out?
2008. No, 2009.
Okay, that sounds about right. Yeah.
I saw a thing today that said the Google Fold, its screen is going to cost $900 to replace, which is just like batshit crazy.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I wonder how much mine costs because I have the.
You're right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I wonder. And I'm not opening this as much as I thought I would. Like I'm kind of debating like, was it a good purchase? Because I'm not really opening it ever. But that's.
You know what? I think it'd be probably if you read like comics or anything. Like I think it'd be probably pretty dope for that. But not everybody does that.
I mean, it's great. Like if you're having a conversation, I've used it for Zoom calls, stuff like that. Certainly if you're spending more than like a moment on your phone, it's worth doing, but it's just that like by habit, I just have that like brick, habit. One thing that I do like is that I could fit my thumb like, anywhere on the screen, which I kind of forgot that using something one-handed, like when it's closed, I could kind of just, I don't need both hands anymore, which is nice. But yeah, y'all remember Blackberries?
Of course. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the NobCon purchase stuff. I got
what did you get?
I bought the infrasonic warp core oscillator, which I didn't get it there. I didn't buy anything there, but like it's a phase distortion oscillator, stereo phase distortion. And it looks cool. It's got like macro modes for different types of oscillator interactions, and then
that was the one you were showing me the pamphlet for. That one.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be here today, so I'll check it out soon. Should be cool.
There was a lot of things at NobCon for sale where they would ship it to you if you bought it there,
Mhm,
and they had like that. And I was just kind of like, that is a miss, because I feel like I probably may have jumped on a few things had they just given it to me. Like, but
some
like
of
the
them did
idea
though.
of it,
Some of them did, but they sold out. That was like the noon.
Right, yeah.
He was
But,
like,
yeah, I
I
was
have
thinking
them, but
that.
I sold out.
Huh. Yeah.
Someone asked if I got all noon. I did not. I'm trying to not buy stuff right now.
Until I send Jeremy my sample pack of the noon, then he's gonna want one real bad.
I'm gonna be like, that's what it's gonna be like over here.
Since this is a Q&A, of course.
Oh yeah, you guys please send in cues.
Yeah, we should start doing your questions now instead of just chatting.
Yeah, Cameron, do you remember having
Blackberries.
a wall phone?
I did. It had a cord. You couldn't walk
Really?
across the
Okay,
house
so
with it.
you-
I had one of those,
Nice.
but I lived in the very, very, very rural Midwest where like that phone had been on the wall of that house like since before time itself. So
Yeah.
I do remember those. And my grandma, I remember at my grandma's house having a rotary dial phone.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we
Because
had
my
one of
grandma
those
and
when I
grandpa
was
are
a
way
kid.
too goddamn cheap to get rid of that thing, and it had been there like as the Grand Canyon was being carved, and like grandpa swore up and down it works just fine. My grandpa was the type too where the garage door opener broke, so then he replaced it with a doorbell, and then the doorbell broke, so he just had it to where it was 2 nails, and he was like, "Open the garage, just lick your finger and put it on the nails, and it would open."
I love that.
I remember the old
awesome.
rotary phone too, so I do know how to use a rotary phone.
Yeah.
My partner, his
Oh,
dad
yeah.
has a business, like a HVAC business, and when he was, for some reason he was like super up on technology, and so like when my partner was like a wee lad, they had like 3 phones in the house. And they were all landlines. One of them was for just calling people. The other one was for the business, and then the third one was like the modem, because you had to like otherwise you'd take up your phone line when you like dialed into internet, which I thought was like, man, that's fucking deluxe.
Yeah. Yeah. I well, I remember like we had like I pretty much only used the home phone for internet when I was a teenager, and then like some months we couldn't pay the bill, so then I'd have to just any sort of actual correspondence I'd have to go to Service Merchandise, which is another store that doesn't exist anymore. But it used to be kind of like a Sears type store, and I'd go to the payphone up by Service Merchandise. If anybody needs me, just page me and I'll call you back from Service Merchandise like 10 minutes later. Yeah.
Heavy Listening has a question for Cameron I'd like to see answered, because this is something I've been wondering about. How do you choose what formats to make packs for? And like how
I mean, usually, like, if I'm doing a commission pack, then, like, obviously that's down to, like, the client or whatever. We're like, we need a pack for Contact. Okay, and then I will make one-shots that get ported into Contact, and I'll export everything as, like, SFC or something. Yeah, the MPC format, I have no idea what that is, but I've never worked on a sample pack for Akai stuff ever. So I'm not familiar with that, but I just deliver everything for my own stuff as just WAV files, just because that's pretty universal. But yeah, like when it comes to my own stuff, I only really deliver wave stuff for like one shots and loops, and then I do multi-samples as decent sampler instruments now, just because that's the easiest way to do it. I've never seen enough of a market to warrant me, like on my own sound packs and stuff. I've never seen enough of a market to make sense to deliver in like the Iridium format or other stuff. But like if I'm working for a company where I'm commissioned to do a bank for that thing, then I will deliver in that format. But that's because it's like, that's what they're requesting I do it for.
Yeah, so like I have a week from today I will be announcing a very large, it's kind of a sample pack preset pack. It's very in depth.
Oh, is that the
And
thing I got an email about?
maybe. I don't know. Unless it was everybody here knows what it is, but
Yeah.
not people in the
I don't-
chat because
I don't know
it's
what
not
it is.
announced. Yeah, you know what it is.
I forgot.
You're in a Slack channel.
Oh, that. God, sorry. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I got a license for it like yesterday. It came in my email.
Oh.
so
Oh, dope. Oh, nice.
I haven't even
I'm
tried
excited
the
to
final
check it
thing.
out. Yeah.
Okay, anyway. So but yeah, I was
Ben's gonna sell
wondering-
us some pro level cords.
Yeah.
It's a mini
yeah.
pack.
No, so okay, so the NPC thing, right? I think it might be a proprietary format. I don't think NPCs load SFZs, do they? Like sound font.
I've never
Or
used one, so I
anything.
have no idea. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah, because I have never seen anything that I've not seen any software that exports to
I
NP.
think Sample Robot might.
Sample Robot might. I feel
I
like
was
there's
just
something in
searching
there.
if it did, and I could not find anything. Huh. And I've seen like some weird convert with Moss
That's what I just clicked
On-
on. Yeah.
on GitHub.
Yep.
So that probably tells me that that Akai might be the bottleneck there.
Wow. This convert with Moss thing looks wild. Like it actually has like a proper interface and stuff. It looks like. I think. I don't know. I don't know enough about any of this to really
Yeah.
make a statement.
I think
Yeah,
I've used the
this-
Convert by Moss a couple times for certain things. I don't really remember though.
It's
I
Wave.
can't
The
open.
format is a descriptor file. Oh, okay, cool. That makes sense. Aquatic Borealis asked if I've ever used a kit maker for the Deluge. I haven't. I don't find it very difficult to make kits on the Deluge. However, if I was going to make a pack for the Deluge, I would use a kit maker, and I might be doing more of that next year. So we will see.
Samples from all of us next year. Everybody,
Yeah.
more
It's just-
samples.
it's
It's
just a-
happening.
It's going to be just a
Maybe I'll-
deluge of samples.
Finally, just start my own sound label. God damn it!
Ooh,
I might see. I'm on the other end. I might be done with samples. I'm kind of
that's
like,
fair. That's fair.
you know, I just feel like once I got the Osmos and other stuff, it's just kind of like I feel like we might be on the end of samples, at least unless they're being mixed with some other form of physical modeling. But
I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate. I went through the Osmosis presets, and I know it has a lot, so I did not get a good.
yeah,
Do you
I didn't
have
get a
one?
good window. No, I played it at
Okay.
at NobCon. I didn't find anything that made me say, "Holy shit, I need this!" Like I did appreciate the craft, and I could hear a lot of what was going on, but there definitely wasn't one that like a collection of presets that were like, yeah. And
They're
I think
not
that
mind
go ahead,
blowing.
sorry.
No, yeah, they're not mind blowing on it. The presets that come with it. I think when I first really like when I first actually really was like, whoa, was when I started playing with
the engine.
yeah. Like
I feel like
and
that's
then
most synths though, because it's like it's hard to do a factory preset bank that covers a lot of good things. Because I feel like even the Iridium or like the Polybrute, I picked those up and was really underwhelmed with like the initial presets. But like when I start making my own, then I'm like, oh, I get it now.
I would absolutely do an Egan Matrix pack if the Osmos sold well for another year. It's just the matter that like there's only going to be like.
How do you guys feel
1,500
about
people.
hardware presets? I'm curious because I get asked about them quite a bit, and I've always been of the mindset that it was like a bad idea, but I know a couple of my sound design friends that do them pretty regularly, and the thing that they mentioned to me was, as versus like, let's say a Serum Bank or like a
Yeah.
Vital Pack or something, people who spend, like let's say the Polybrute, right? It's not something that everyone has, but the people that do have it have already put whatever it is now, 3,200 because of the price increase or something, or 2,800 wherever it's at now. But they've already put all this money into this, so if you sell a preset pack for $20 for it, they're way more likely to buy it than someone
Yes.
who got Vital
Yeah.
for free and you're asking $5 from. So I've always been like on the fence about it, but I've been thinking about next year doing like an Iridium bank and stuff like
Do it.
that, because I was like, that's a pretty good point.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Like I think that people, I don't really know how to say this nicely, but like a lot of people buy hardware and they don't want to make sounds on it. They want to play with it, and but they don't really want to like they don't like the process of sound design quite that much.
I went on Arturia's website. I know they have like their big sounds thing, and I downloaded like 6 things for the Polybrute the other night, and they're like amazing presets. But they were free. But I was like, damn, that's kind of a good point that like, you know, if I was selling Polybrute presets for $20, people would probably be more willing to buy it because they've already invested enough into this anyway.
Well, I remember a lot of people have asked me if I would upload my Zoya presets to patch storage. And I have a ton of Zoya. I mean, I've been in on the Zoya train since like 2018 or something. And so, and I've just been like too lazy. Like I've just been like, no, I don't want to like take, you know, I don't want to have to write out descriptions, but I was like, if I do write out descriptions and like what the little buttons and what the, you know, because you kind of have to make a little.
No one does
UI.
that. No one does that.
I've seen some. Well, I mean, I guess it would be like required. Otherwise, people would just be like, "This sucks. I don't understand what it does." And if I did do that, though, then it's like this is actually worth money. I'm like giving away pedals at this point. You know, like this is actually like kind of IP at this point. Like yeah, but it's kind of an interesting conundrum.
The Zoya ecosystem on patch storage, it's great that it exists, but it's like diving into somebody's GitHub repo for like, you know, some like FFmpeg wrapper or something super esoteric. It is a mess. Like, and
I've enjoyed some of the patches I've gotten, but I've never tried to like mess with them. I just turn it on, and if it's cool, then great. But I'm not gonna like sit there and tweak it.
If you make a patch for this
one is like mind.
If you make a patch for the Zoya and it doesn't just like immediately do something when you run audio through it or just play when you load it up, like you might as well just delete it. Like it's you'll never figure it out.
What is there's that music for airports one. There's another patch that there's some great tape simulation patches. I would argue that a Zoya might be able to beat a Generation Loss Make 2 in terms of like that lo-fi vibe.
I think the Zoya is brilliant.
I have a project I've been wanting to work on. If you got patch recommendations for that sound, let me know. I've got a thing I'm doing.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. I do feel like, I mean, the Generation Loss is great and all, but I feel like not all lo-fi noise is that range of lo-fi noise, if that makes sense. I feel like there's also like the echo and the tape looping, and there are some patches where like, I mean, I've even made some patches where like you can make a tape loop essentially, and then it just keeps getting more and more degraded.
I didn't know that you can feed back on the Euro Bureau, and I discovered that like by accident a couple days ago when I was making patches, and man, that was fun. I was like feeding back like 4 delays into a bunch of distortions, and I was like, this is everything I want in life.
Yeah, there's like a lot of with the new Yamaha montage thing that I can't really say anything else about. I'm glad that that's coming soon, because I'm so fucking tired of not being able to tell anybody about that. Like people have had to sign NDAs because the like, you know, the 88, obviously any 88 key synth is huge, and so people feel like had to sign NDAs just to like come to my house because of that thing.
That's very silly.
But yeah, like there's a couple other things where there's a lot of really good gears coming out soon, fortunately.
So are we getting a Ben Analog Lab Acid V sample pack? Asked Kevin Phillips.
I'm not entirely sure what that means.
Just like a patch bank for the new Acid V.
No. The new Acid V doesn't allow you to change presets by key, which like
is that a deal breaker for you?
Yeah, I was just like, well, how am I supposed to like make a song? Like, you know, I guess that like there was a way to like stack patterns, but it was still like not very interactive. And just for my workflow, I hope that Arturia will add that, because it really seemed like, I mean, Mikey was in there. Mikey 303 was watching that stream, and he was equally as devastated to find out that you can't just like, you know, have pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, pattern 4, because that's a great way to
I haven't had a chance to mess with it yet, but that kind of sucks.
Like otherwise it was great. Otherwise it was probably the best 303 plugin that I've seen in terms of sound, but in terms of pattern generation, like it was very easy to generate patterns within scales and stuff like that, but audio realism still takes the cake for me. the audio reel is a bass line. Yeah. ABL 3.
Well, what about a pigments pack? Are you going to do a pigments pack?
No. I don't know. Maybe.
I would do one. I would do one just with the granular engine. I don't want to write like a bunch of bass presets and shit.
I've wanted to do a pigments pack for a minute, and I think the granular and the additive are two really cool engines that do some wild stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Pigments is like one of the funnest synths to program. But here's what I hate about making patches that sell. Like if you're to make a patch for something that goes on the market, is that you have to label all the knobs and you have to make all the macros. You have to do all that, and that's a bummer.
Yeah, you can't just make it. You can't just make a sound that's like, here's a sound. It has to have like a range, and it has to all be like programmed, and it's just like.
It's very tedious, but I think like I've been doing it for so long where that doesn't even bother me anymore. Where it's like that's just part of my workflow now.
Fair enough.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
But I could see that where, like, if you do just want to design a patch, if you want to compete with like the other patches,
But
if you're
sort of, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's kind of like you can do it in iterations. So you make your sound, you make a bunch of sounds, and then you go back and then like you and I'm not telling you guys this. I'm telling anyone that's involved in this. Like, and then you can go back and kind of like, oh well, I'm doing macros today, or I'm doing the mod wheel today, because you have to like fucking put something on the mod wheel too. Today I'm making sure that all my pitch bend ranges are right. Like it is very fucking tedious to do it.
You definitely have to have a checklist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like I feel like I've probably made much like Adam, wherever that comment was. I feel like I've made a ton of pigment patches. I feel like I've made pigment patches that are like entire songs with one key.
Oh, it's crazy what you can do with it now. It's like when Pigments first came out, I was really underwhelmed by it, and now it's like one of my favorite plugins.
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget Aftertouch. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I wanted to forget Aftertouch.
But also like a Yamaha montage, like making a patch for that is like, I mean, days per patch. It's days. Like
some synths I don't like. The phase plant, especially. I just did a new phase plant library, and that was one of the things with that where it's like, fuck, like it's so powerful, but then like, what do you want it to do? And those are the synths that are really tedious to program for.
I can't even imagine like on the PA5X or like on an arranger, like how much time goes into a patch on this? Like probably, and that's why it's so expensive. Is the actual programming for it is,
the labor,
and the R&D is probably like, who knows? Like, but
I would hope that people working, like, I would hope that they would like maybe have like some kind of computer interface that they could like write on and then put it on there. But who knows?
Yeah, I'd
imagine you could import and export MIDI files on it, right?
Oh yeah, can you?
Sort of. I can only speak for Yamaha. And,
okay.
And the thing is like if I acknowledge the presence of a tool, people will want that tool. But what I can tell you is that if you tried the tool, you wouldn't want the tool.
Yeah.
Like it's not made for, you know what I mean? Because when you make a piece of software, it's like 20% is the software, and then 80% is the UI, so people can use the software without it being, So like, for example, I've been in California for like you have to kind of go to school to use the tool. Like you have to I've shown up in person to learn how to use it. Like it's that crazy, right? So it's not something that you could just like release and people would figure out. Like there is no documentation or anything, and it's very, very. If you thought Egan Matrix was bad, wait till you find out what kind of tools are making a Ranger keyboard thing. So,
Oh, speaking of presets, I need to send you guys my KnobCon instrument that is finally done.
Oh yeah,
that finally got done.
Your KnobCon instrument?
Yeah,
you went around and sampled a note on everything or something.
Yeah, I sampled notes from like.
I love how
booth.
I didn't know about this at all. Like
that was my little
first time. I've heard of this. You've probably said it like 40 times, but I'm such a good shit that I was just like not listening.
Yeah, I went around to like almost every booth and requested like a low note, a middle note, and a high note to create a sample instrument from. So I finally finished that the other day. So I got to upload that and get that ready to ship.
Someone just brought up synth one. That's legit.
Dext, right? Yeah. So like, how cool would it be? I almost want to. I almost want to like have some sort of Dext preset challenge or something. Like that would actually be fun. Like to have like maybe a sim selections where you're just everybody's using Dext and learning FM either a little bit or a lot, you know, because I feel like you can never really get done learning FM. You know, you're like, there's always some new thing.
Oh wait, I moved this ratio like, you know, a tiny this level
Right.
like a tiny bit up, and now I have a whole new sound.
Yeah,
Have
and
you
it's
guys
like you
messed
could-
with
You could
FM and
experiment with it.
Faceplant?
Yeah.
No, I haven't actually used Faceplant, unfortunately.
Yeah, so in Faceplant, not only can you do all the FM stuff, but then you could FM with wavetables, or you could FM with samples, or you could FM samples with wavetables, or whatever. Like, it's nuts.
Have you used
Sometimes-
Dext before?
Sometimes I talk to you guys and I talk to other people, and I'm like, we have too much stuff. We have
Yeah.
far too many choices to pick between.
But then when it
Dext
comes to
is so
making music,
cool.
we use like the same 3 things.
Yeah, exactly.
Dext is so cool because you could then like you could save the patch and then load it on like an iPad. You could load it on oh man, I wonder. I mean, definitely like on a Reface, on a Yamaha Reface.
There's a couple things that take Dext. You can load Dext patches on, I believe. I think you can export them and load them into the plates module from Mutable Instruments.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. There was
Huh.
an update that had like added like 3 banks of DX7 patch playback, so you could make patches in Dext and put them onto plates, which
Damn.
is
Yeah.
wild.
My favorite thing with Dext is going online and finding like really old patch banks
Oh, yeah,
someone made
absolutely.
like forever ago, and they're like, it's on like, you know, their GeoCities page or something awful, and it's like, here's 400 of the like weirdest presets. Yeah, that's like my favorite thing with Dext is just opening crazy presets I found on the internet.
Oh, I did not realize that. Huh. Well, I will. Maybe we should do. Maybe the next sim selection should be like
FM.
Dext.
Someone made a saxophone and beat me. That's fair, man. That's completely
Yeah,
fair.
but yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be a good stream too. To like, yeah, actually have the patches. I don't know. Maybe
If you could get
could be like a
people
fundraiser,
to anyone demystify like FM for people a little bit, that you're doing good work.
Yeah, yeah. It's simple and complicated. But yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I think about Dext a lot. Like I really do, just because it's like a really it's one of the first. I mean, it's like it's open. So it's one of the first like open source plugins that was actually really useful. How long has it been around for? I feel like I should just like now show people what I'm talking about. If they're not, well, anybody who's probably searching.
Don't you mean present?
Yeah, present it to people. Yeah.
Super Collider challenge.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, Super Collider. Let's just go right into it.
Eric,
Wow.
I can explain FM without mentioning Bessel functions, but I wouldn't be using any mathematical terms at all. So I don't know if that's a good way to explain FM.
Yeah.
I feel like Andrew Wong's video actually did a
It
pretty
is.
good job of it.
Yeah,
That was one of the best, like, just here is what FM is and what it does. That was like, I don't know how he just did a really good job nailing
he
that
had
down
visual
into like 3
aids.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's why I've never done a FM video. It's just like we don't need one, honestly. Like that one pretty much covered it.
Yeah, I think one of my first videos was an FM explainer.
You took out your plates to fit a second Legion? Oh, wow. The Legion must be pretty dope. What makes the Legion special? I forgot. I'm going to look it up real quick.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
It's an oscillator. An analog oscillator. It can't be that cool. It's just analog.
I mean, WMD stuff was pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got what? Oh, it has a swarm input. I wonder what that does. Swarm timbre. I'm not seeing anything here that would make me take plates out, but you know, you do you, Jay.
My only reason for taking plates out would be that it's in everything else.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
I have it in there, but it's just sort of like, I do think that a lot of times I will.
Jay say 8 HP. That's why. they
Yeah,
switched
right.
it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I feel like plates is like it's so easy to use, or it's such it's like what you just want to go to if you need a quick oscillator. When I also have a bunch of oscillators that would probably make more interesting things, but I'm just lazy, so you just plug in plates. Like that
You're
would
not
be
wrong.
my reasoning for getting rid of it, is that it's too good Yeah,
It's
most
just
of mutable stuff is like that. It's just like you use it too much. That's why you get rid of it.
I
It's
I don't
because
know if I've ever. I'd say like 90% of my patches have rings in it. I just like
yes,
it's a
yeah,
sound
same.
that I can't get away from. I just like it too much.
And rings is the one. Well, I would say clouds has this effect too, but rings is
Mm.
the one that like I've never heard it emulated properly.
Mm.
Like the module actually sounds unique. I'm not sure if it's like the chip or what's going on in there, but it anywhere else where I've
Oh,
heard
interesting.
rings, it's not.
I just have a
been
random
right.
side note, but one of my favorite comments on the internet, I can't remember the context of the thread, but there was someone complaining about like plugins or something, and someone just replied, "Oh boo, go patch rings into plats again," or something like that. I was dying. Or no, patch rings into
Patching the
clouds again. That was,
clouds.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was one of the best comment replies I've ever seen on the
I
internet.
mean that is just sort of you can't go
It
wrong.
sounds
Rings are
good.
that's the classic like modulars coming up.
I
Every
will
time
say,
every time I
Compiles.
open VCV, I do that, and then I feel dirty afterwards. But it just works.
I will
Yeah.
say I had used clouds, since I got my rack like, a while ago, and I never turned the freeze function on, and I was like, why does everybody like clouds? I don't understand like what is about clouds. It just kind of sounds like this weird glitchy nonsense. And then like a week ago in VCV rack, I accidentally hit the freeze button. I'm like, oh, okay, I
Yep.
get it.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Did
Clouds was Eurorack's fart into an eventide nonlinear verb algo.
Mhm.
Yes,
w-
true.
so what is the deal with okay, so like I believe that the way that mutable has always worked was that once the Easter eggs were found, then it would be released, then the open source would be released.
Oh, is that what the thing was? That's really
Something
funny.
like that? Yeah, and I don't think anybody's really found the beads.
Easter eggs? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not heard of any, and I actually haven't heard of an alt firmware for beads either. Let me see if there is
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I was about to search that, but Jamie, look it up. There's Jamie, pull that up. Jamie, pull up the beads.
February 2023. Oh, I have to go to Reddit for this. That's gross. There's been a firmware. Yeah, no. Interesting.
And I've not used. I'm not sure if I've just not been. If I didn't really like beads as much as I liked some of the other modules, or if that was just when I stopped using modular as much, like as my interest in modular in general started going down around then, probably. So
That's fair. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I wonder. I mean, I'm pretty sure modular is like seeing a winter now.
It is a bit. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure YouTubers just have it for background lighting.
That I do. I mean, that is a huge reason why I haven't moved mine upstairs. Because I thought that maybe I would like it a little bit more if it was upstairs and separated
In a different
from
room.
everything else.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, because
I have a giant patch, like all Velcroed up in mine now, because I'm beta testing a module from Bit. That's all I could say. I probably shouldn't even said the name, but shh, don't tell anyone. And the date for it just got pushed back, so I have this like production patch, like it's ready to go, just waiting for like the finalized firmware. Now like the date for it got pushed back, and my entire rig is like frozen in this patch specifically for this module.
And yeah, I'm with MP. I've made my peace with VCV. I'm just like, I'm so good with VCV and Cardinal that like, I don't know, every time I want to get into Eurorack, I just open VCV or Cardinal or something. I'm just like cool with it. But then like, I do feel bad because my Euro Bureau sits over there nice and lonely. But like the Euro Bureau is good enough
the
on
Euro
its own.
Bureau can really. I very rarely use the Euro Bureau in my modular. It's
Oh,
there,
no.
but I
Yeah.
rarely. It's such a good standalone. It's kind of interesting because I remember thinking when for like the 2 years the Euro Bureau was in development before it came out, I was like, this is going to change everything. Like this is going to this is going to be the module that you want because it fills in the blanks. Like rather
is a
than
great
getting
segue.
a bigger case. Yeah, rather than getting a big case, you would just, patch two things together in Euro Bureau, and sure enough, I've never really used it that way. I've used it as a standalone. I've made generative stuff on it. I've used it as a standalone in all sorts of ways. I've used it as like a satellite module for other things that aren't in my modular, like But yeah,
The meta module from 4MS. Do you guys
the
know what that
VCV
is?
rack in
Yeah,
a module.
in a module. Yeah.
I wanted to
That's
see it at NobCon, but I didn't get a chance to go over and really look at it and play with it. But yeah, that's wild that you could just run VCV in it.
Yeah. It yeah, it is really it is a better
Jay. Yeah.
distinct. So okay, so like let's talk about that 4MS thing.
The only thing we need to say is that you can just have rings in the clouds, and then
There
it's
you go,
just there
done.
all the time. Like you can have marbles,
Yeah.
rings, and clouds, and then like you just turn it on and it's good to go.
That seemed to be like the winner of NobCon. That
Mhm.
seemed to be like the thing that everybody was buzzing about, and I
It's
seem to
it's
be
polarizing.
the only. And I seem to be the only person who is just like, nah, like
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
we've seen this fail already in a way. Like we've seen this not take off the way that we expected to with the Hector, for example.
Sure.
Like the Hector on paper is like a really powerful, like this should be the game changing end of all modules because you can load modules in it and it has rings and all those things in
It does.
already in a sleeker interface for a modular than what you would have with VCV Rack. And yet I don't see too many people going crazy about their Hectors. I have one. It is great. It is fine. I actually want to do a stream with one very soon.
You should.
I keep forgetting. But I don't really use it that much unless
think-
it's just for an effect or something.
I think what really separates all of these is like it's not what they have in them, it's how they let you use what they have in them. Meaning the interface. And so while on Hector you can patch on it, the screen is a touch screen and it isn't a great touch screen. And also once you've hook stuff up, if you want to access stuff with like knobs like you would with modular, one of the main things that modular is for, you want it like a bank of like attenuverters next to it. So whenever I use the Hector, I would stick like a bunch of acid rain navigators or triads next to it, and I would pipe those in to whatever I wanted to touch. The what do you call it, meta module, I guess is what they're calling it. Like it has knobs on it already, and you assign those as macros. You can macro them in VCV Rack before you port the patch over. So I think that's going to be good. Like you do get hands-on control over stuff.
And the macros were CVable too, right?
Probably. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know that much about it.
I didn't get a super good look at it, but
so we have that. We have the other thing is going to be obviously latency and CPU. Like how does it deal with both of those things? Because the Hector, for all of its strengths, does not gracefully deal with the top end of its CPU limit. It kind of starts to like freak out pretty substantially, and the screen gets very, very sluggish. And the worst thing in the world is to interface with a touch screen that's lagging. Like it doesn't register your touch, and then like you try to drag something, and all of a sudden you've moved all your modules around, and it's just a mess.
Yeah. So like some, I thought what it made me want more than anything else was like it kind of made me realize like I would really love to have like an iPad stand for on top of my modular that had CV ins and outs that could hook up to what is the VCV Rack version of MC Rack or M something? The VCV Rack on iPad.
Yeah.
Or Drambo, like straight up a Drambo.
So like an iPad to CV interface or something.
Yeah.
You could use the iPad almost like Jay uses the Zoya kind of.
Right.
Right. If you've ever used Drambo, that would be an amazing add-on for your
I'm just seeing it
like
now. Yeah, interesting.
Drambo is like probably the coolest iPad music making app.
Wow,
I would say.
looks neat.
I feel like most people would agree with me on that. It's like you could even do like audio rate modulation with it and stuff, and it's like it's pretty next level in terms of like ideas for how to create modular ideas, or if that makes any sense. Like you can like make a new patch for each key essentially and like play it like a drum or whatever. I mean, there's so many different options. It's really powerful. So yeah, that and then another thing that Mitch and I were like going over. Drambo, Drambo.
Drambo.
Another thing that I was sort of going crazy with thinking about. Oh yeah, I think we were in the hotel in Indiana. Was like the pedal board idea with like not having cables in your pedal board and just making a new pedal format that essentially would like you'd be able to just magnetically move them around. And then they would just connect side to side, and that way, like you wouldn't really need a patch bay. You could just sort of be like with your pedals, and you could either have it upright if you wanted to work with modular, or you could have it on the ground if you wanted it to work with guitar, and like the pedal board itself could actually have the on-off switches. And so not really cartridges as much as like, it would be like imagine a modular, but everything connects next to it or something.
Magic.
And you could just like move them up and down and clip them in, or they could be magnetic or whatever. But yeah, a Line 6 Helix series essentially, right? Yeah, that it would be that, but with physical pedals. Yeah, imagine a modular. Imagine a modular simulator running on a modular. We could just keep going. The Helix has been around for long enough to where I've wanted to borrow one, but
I've heard nothing but good things about them. I've never got to sit down and play with one yet, though.
Yeah,
because I've heard like the new cab sims and like the new processing power and stuff, like they're supposed to be really, really, really good. And then I know someone also recommended me the Head Rush, I think.
Yeah, that's
which is like a newer brand, I think.
Huh. That makes me want to look at the Zounds now. And
then there's the Kemper, which I know everyone loves, but there's one other like newer floorboard based thingy. Is that Neural DSP? They make that plug-in, but then they moved into like a physical amp thing.
It's so expensive. Like their stuff is so highly priced, and I mean that's always been my biggest gate. But not even like it's like I don't mind buying it, but if it sounds good, I don't mind buying it. But like I can't recommend it to other people if it's that expensive. Like it's just kind of
the Head Rush looks fucking crazy. Like it is.
I watched a couple videos on it. I was like, man, this is neat. But
yeah, I'm trying to see how much it costs.
I want to say it was around $2,000.
Oh, that's wow! Look at all this. See, I don't like touch screens. I really, really do not like touch screens, because like you have something like the iPad or whatever, or the iPhone, and they really like spend a lot of money on their touch screens and like the way that you interact with them. And I feel like very few other consumer electronics actually pull off that level of quality. So there's nothing worse than a badly behaving touchscreen.
Yeah, the Head Rush. Oh yeah, Head Rush is owned by not Akai, InSound.
Oh,
I thought it was more expensive. Maybe I was looking at
something
something
I did
else.
too. No, this is it.
I swear it was about $2,000 for the one I was looking at, but
maybe it was. It has lots of ins and outs.
Yeah, no, it seemed pretty complete, and like I was really impressed by the sound demos and stuff, and I was like, man, that looks perfect for just like doing guitar stuff, or if I need to pull up my bass or something and like lay something.
Yeah, I mean, this is essentially guitar rig, isn't it?
Yeah,
it looks like it. Yeah.
And they license auto-tune.
Did they really?
I guess so. Why though? Like, what the fuck?
It does. It vocal processes as well.
Does it? Oh,
yeah.
A mic input. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I might try this out.
Yeah. I have a TC
Too bad I don't play
Helicon
shows anymore.
Voice Live 3 that is sort of like, yeah, so it is a similar kind of concept where it's like it will process your guitar and also do all that crazy voice stuff as well.
I have the Voice Live, like the one that mounts to a microphone stand, and it was like the $600 one or whatever, and that thing
It's rad.
I mean, since it came out, I was using it in like every flashbulb gig. Like it is incredibly useful and good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to look at
Little-
guitar multi effects here.
Oh no.
Well, I feel like what is the flagship right now?
Probably the Fractal.
Can it still be the Helix? The Helix has been around for like 10 years.
I thought
like-
the Fractal like Mark fucking 5 or whatever they're on now was like still like the one to get, and the Kemper.
The Kemper stuff is probably like
Yeah.
the most expensive.
The GT100, that's like the new. I wonder if that
Because I
has...
feel like I hear about the Kemper and the Fractals a lot. The Axe Effects, 12.
Kemper
whatever.
VS versus GT1000. Yeah.
What
Oh
is
wait, the
this
Boss is the G. It's a the GT1000 is a Boss thing, not a Kemper thing.
MS70
excuse me.
CDR, hell yeah.
The classic.
Yeah, I don't think they have the Kemper on here.
Fractal
But-
Kemper Quad Cortex. Okay, yeah, sure. That's the other name. that I
Oh,
do
the
recognize.
Neural Quad Cortex. That was the one I looked
thank
at.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't they have names like video cards?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like come on, guys.
It's the Neural DSP i9 Sandy Lake.
Yeah. Okay, so the Headrush Prime amp modeler and vocal processor. Oh,
And
they
the
both
Helix
are vocal
LT
processor.
is about the same price. Okay.
Oh, I've not tried the H90 yet, but I assume that it's not any different than like. I feel like all the Eventide stuff's the same, except you could run like more.
Yeah.
More
Yes.
stuff.
The
not-
Quad Cortex runs around 1900 live. Excuse me,
Right.
live.
How
New.
about the Zoom G11? What is
that?
going
Looks
on here?
amazing.
Krampus.
Krampus.
What the fuck? Play by patch memory, play with rhythm, play by effect board, play with looper.
Krampus.
Man. Krampus.
Krampus.
Good old Krampus.
It's Krampus,
Grandpa
guys.
Krampus.
Does it have a
They
mic
have
in?
they
Nope.
do
Trash.
not.
Trash.
Absolutely
Where's
not.
my
auto-tune?
But they have USB-C, so you could just like play this directly into your phone.
Yes, we did know that that the person who designs the Kempers is the person who designed the virus, because all they do is Kemper now, and no viruses anymore.
No
And that is
virus.
very, very sad.
Because
Yeah, I would be curious what a modern virus would be like. It would probably be just mind-numbingly
I
good.
think it's what you have. I think it's the Iridium. Like
I guess, yeah.
You know, like you talk about just like the way they were going with the granulizers and stuff like that and all that shit. Like I feel like the Iridium is probably pretty close to what they would
Yeah,
be
I
doing
still
now.
think. I mean, Ben's definitely got me excited about whatever this new Yamaha thingy is. But like,
The
in my
montage.
mind, the Iridium still is just like the king of synths out there right now. Like the
Well,
Osmos is really damn powerful and stuff, but like the Iridium, 3 oscillators, and it could be bitimbral, so you could have like 6 different things happening in a patch and still have 8 voices of polyphony and have MPE support and stuff.
That's something that separates though. Like the viruses were always 16-part multi-timbral,
Yeah.
which is pretty crazy. You know.
if it gets you excited enough, like for anybody watching, I did show Mitch and Cameron in the hotel. I played some of my patches from the montage thing.
You're just carrying
my
it around?
phone. No,
Oh,
just
okay.
on my phone. I just played them like some recordings of the patches and like
It was
and
pretty cool.
yeah, and everybody's like, "What?" Yeah, it goes. I love stuff that goes beyond what a VST can do.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's just the thing. It's like I love it when it's like, yeah, you can't really do this on a computer right now. But that also like arrangers. Like I don't know of any sort of arranger type of VST.
Have you heard
probably
of a
just-
thing called a DAW?
Yeah, well, no, because because an arranger is like something that you can improvise an entire song with.
Right.
Sure.
From your intro to your,
So what is that most
variations to
comparable
your
then
fills.
to? Is it kind of like using the clips in Ableton or something in a way, or?
I don't know. I mean, I would compare it to like, you know, that Casio, I can never remember the model name, but the Casio keyboard that has the text to speech. in it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know how you have like the little like intros and variation. It's like that, but like professional version, like good enough to like play in a, you know, if you were playing in a restaurant or something, I don't know, playing it in church.
Playing at El Nandu in Chicago.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
They used
Just
to
a heads
have,
up. I got about 15 minutes left in me.
Okay.
Before I got to go walk the dogs and stuff.
They used to have a El Nando in Chicago. I feel like nobody knows what we're talking about, but
No.
there's a restaurant in Chicago. They used to have a guitarist, guitarist who kind of played with like an arranger keyboard, but he had a Spanish guitar, and he played upside down, just like me. And I remember one day I noticed. It was
Sorry,
like,
my brain like did not process that statement properly. It was like
Yeah.
hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, he plays guitar upside down.
yeah, he called himself.
He was awesome.
Batman. Yeah. No, he played inverted like me, and I didn't notice. Yeah, it was like probably the 10th time that I had like sat next to him while he was playing, and I noticed, and I was like, "Hey," and he like took a break, and I was like, "Hey, I play just like you," and he was like, "No." And I was like, "I do." And he was like, "No, there's no way." And he was like, "Prove it." And he like handed me the guitar, and I started playing. And then he just like went outside and had a cigarette and like watched me playing in front of the restaurant for like 5 minutes. Yeah,
That
like, all
is
right.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's just this old Argentine man, but
It's because he wanted a smoke break, but he had been contracted by the restaurant to play for 2 straight hours. So you just took
Exactly.
you just took 10 minutes of his gig for him for free, and he was like, "I'm sure you can play here. Take the guitar, whatever."
yeah. Here, show off, show everybody how you can play, buddy.
That's
Yeah,
really
cigarette.
funny.
Yeah. The MIDI flute guy also had a kit for a device. I forgot that I can do this. The MIDI flute guy also had a kit for a device that was like yes. It was a the MIDI
Was that the
flute guy.
kalimba thing?
Yeah, it was like that little touch kalimba. That thing looked really
Mm.
cool, but it was a DIY kit, and I just don't have any. Like, time is my most like scarce
Yes.
resource right now. So I was just like, I don't
Absolutely.
have time to put anything together. I need time to put my life together.
Mood.
I don't think trackers would be considered decent arrangement. Like, it's already having like the guts of like, imagine that you just have like the rhythm and a bass, but if you play like a C minor, then
Yeah.
like all the stuff fills in C minor, and then
Yeah.
you can play like a lead over that, and
Yeah, it plays. It's like auto accompaniment is a big part of arranging. Like
Yeah.
you sort of open a template and adjust some parameters, and then you play something and it plays around you.
Yeah, and it's pretty intuitive. Like, I mean, this detects like pretty extensive, like minor 13th add, from 9, crazy chords like that. And it detects it pretty flawlessly. Like I've been able to like jazz out completely fine without really running into any issues. I feel like the Casio, that Casio one, when you got a little bit too abstract, it would kind of lose you with the accompaniments, but that's like to be
I never
expected.
thought about that. Like its ability to detect sort of more complex chords, voicings would probably be
Or
Yeah.
to
A big
infer
deal.
like where the voice leading is going would be a big thing too. Because I feel like most of the auto accompaniment things look at a pretty primary palette, like harmonically, and it doesn't really contextualize. Well, like this happened, then this happened, and now we're here. So therefore, if they're moving this here, we might actually be switching to this direction instead of.
But
just
how
like,
do you? Yeah, but like if there's like 3 different options that are coming, and it can't like say like, hey, I must put all 3 of those in there. We might be going to these 3 different chords next.
I
I
think
think
it
if
would
it
probably
did
have
that,
to
I
look
would
at
hate
like.
it. Like, I feel like that because I feel like my improvise. Yeah, I feel like when I improvise stuff, I want to change the scale entirely. I want to
Right.
like try and find that big arc, and so I feel like I would probably. Yeah, it would probably not work well for me. I don't think this is happening in there at all. And it's definitely, I can confirm that that's not happening with the montage, which the montage is kind of like an arranger a little bit. Like, it's not quite as arrangey as this, but you do have like different, you can like progress a sequence. You could kind of arrange with it, but not to the extent that.
I wonder if it detects
general
it though based on the number of active voices, and then just like how many of those notes are related to what you last played. That might be a simpler logic to like understand where to go next.
And you could also have like set, so like let's say that you just had like a bass and a piano, so the bass like could walk up maybe 3 of the 5 notes because it would sound a little odd if it like walked up on like an 11th or something, and then also the piano, you would be like, okay, so the lowest
Yes, we are,
key,
Aiden. Yes, Aiden, we are.
the lowest key in the chord is will sort of be the beginning of the waltz, and then the next 3 will be the second, so the da dun da dun, something like that. Like I'm just thinking of like a bass and waltz piano or something. Yeah, it's just like the most complicated arpeggiator ever.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, IARP, I think, was a technology that was in like one arranger keyboard that I saw, like, and it literally was like intelligent pitch. That was the idea behind it.
Do you remember Chord Karma?
I do. I've always wanted to try one. I was
Same.
obsessed with that synth.
Yeah.
How much do they go for these days?
Yeah, it's
let's
good.
see.
I think I actually looked this up. We may have actually
Just
talked
recently.
about this in Chicago.
Yeah, I think we probably did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with them. 415.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's not bad at all.
Dude, oh god.
Trying to see if we missed any other questions in the chat. But I don't think
Jeremy
we
sells
have.
his used gear to buy new stuff. That's the name of the shop.
It's like literally what I just
is.
did.
Wow, look at that. I kind of have to buy it now. Does it have any? It's missing some knobs. Oh, I see that.
Nothing a little hot glue can't fix.
What does he say? What condition? Good.
Good.
Scan-
I feel like
Condition.
missing knobs is not good. I feel like missing
No.
knobs is fair.
Yeah.
Or
Let's
whatever,
see.
yeah.
Wait, does he have 2 of them? There's 2 listings that look exactly the same. Oh, is
One's
one of
in
them.
better
Oh, one's a
condition.
reverb. One's a reverb bump. Sorry.
Oh,
That's why.
okay.
that would be really. It just has 2 of these sitting around, just like
With the exact same missing knobs, too.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, a man only needs 3 of these.
Yeah.
Might as well
it
get
is-
rid of the other
He
2.
just eats knobs. Yeah.
When I was a youngin, this thing looked so futuristic to me, and now I'm looking at it, and it looks the opposite of that.
Or a Korg Triton, if you remember those.
I
Those
do.
Tritons.
Yeah.
Or also,
I remember
like, I
Triton.
remember looking up to being like, when those first came out, I was like, one day I'll have something like that.
One, I think my one day was the Tascam, the old Porta Studios, but it burned a CD.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like
wow.
a 16. It was a 16
Yeah.
track recorder, and it had like faders and EQ and like little
Yeah.
effect sends, and it burned a CD. And I remember going to Guitar Center with my dad, and my dad was like, you could have that. You could record your own record right at home and blah blah blah. And I just remember that blowing my mind as a kid. Like, man, one day I'm gonna be able to burn a CD.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
they
powerful.
They had another one that would actually put it like in a CD case and then inside like a padded envelope, and then automatically print the address to Sony Records and then mail your demo to them. Yeah. No. There's what exactly constitutes something being called a tracker? Trackers
Great
are top-down Excel spreadsheet style composing. I think that's pretty much what would be a tracker. Have I used Renoise? A very long time ago, I used Renoise.
Tried it one time.
Yeah.
It's the Wikipedia says the music is represented as discrete musical notes positioned in several channels at chronological positions on a vertical timeline. So it scrolls from top to bottom. That's your time. Each slot is a unit of time, usually a 16th note, but you can actually change them on the fly. And you usually have a few columns for each track. Like you'd have like 8 tracks. And then like the first column would be your note value. So like C5, D3, whatever. You'd have your velocity and your instrument, which would be what instrument is being triggered by that thing. And then you'd usually have a couple columns for what are called like effects or parameters, like decay of something or something like that. Oh, your filter, if you had a filter. They're cool. It means every step can be like perfectly crafted to have a completely different identity if you need it to, or you can do just really, really interesting virtuosic stuff that you normally wouldn't play live. It's pretty cool.
I had no idea that there was a Triton VST, but I'm looking at it now, and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's been out for a minute.
that's great. Do you still use your Blofeld?
Not since I got the Iridium, but like the Iridium has the Blofeld wavetables and stuff on it, and like
Mm.
outside of the more extended multi-timbral abilities of the Blofeld, I don't see a reason to use it, and the multi-mode on the Blofeld is so limited because of like how old it is, where like if you want to run 8
Yeah.
parts, you can only run like 8 parts of saw waves, and like certain filters eat up the CPU more than others. So I don't see a reason to use the Blofeld much anymore, and like the reverbs on it and stuff are ass. So I just use the Iridium for everything, but the Iridium sits right on my desk right here in front of the camera. I mean, the Iridium's like my go-to fuck about box.
The Electribe EMX1.
It's a
Remember
classic.
those?
It is a classic.
Was that wasn't the first one, right? That was the one that had like the tubes in it.
It has the valve force. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the EMX one was.
Because I had the original first Electribe, or the
Oh,
drum.
I remember
and-
seeing this in like magazines or something.
Yeah.
The one that's a drum synth is legit. The one that's sample
Yes.
based is a little hard to get to
It's a
sound
little-
good. I feel like
It
so
was a
crust-
little limited.
Yeah.
It was a little limited, but like, yeah, I think I traded it for something else. But I remember having one like when I had a 303 and stuff, and I would,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean they're fun. Like that was one of the first things that made me like fall in love with the concept of a groove box. Yeah, I mean you can't not when you look at the thing. It's just like festooned with things that want to be touched. Oh God.
God, that's
I'm just, I
stupid
just
thing.
had to. Yeah, it's so I don't understand how this is. I'm gonna have to figure it out. Yeah, that's very bizarre. And I think my
I can't wait
voice
for the
modulates
45-minute
through
video
it.
on this.
Do
When you
notice
can
that?
play My Heart Will Go On, we will have made
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I could try. It'll be really funny if I try. Like, it's amazing.
This is going to be
That-
like an hour and 45 episode of Ben and Gear on just this thing, just doing that into like clouds.
Yeah,
And not gonna lie, probably would kick ass.
yeah.
I had a
I'm excited to see how this works with USB. But
who was I talking to? Was that Mitch?
probably.
About Sweetwater.
Uh-oh.
Or no,
You
it
went-
was my
you
friend
went
Jesse.
Mute. You've muted.
I did?
I can hear him.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Am I here?
Hurry up, say something.
Okay.
You're here. Yeah, you sound fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you lose me,
Must be
Ben?
that fancy beta sound card that he has.
Maybe.
I can
Wait,
hear
is
him
everybody
fine.
muted? I
Hello?
hear nothing
Fine.
anymore.
I hear all of you. This is
I think
really
Ben-
funny.
Maybe
Did you
maybe
just
it's
break
my
your
sound
setup
card.
because of
I hear
the because of
myself.
I think Ben messed himself up with the
I'm
flute.
gonna try.
The flute killed his
The
headphones.
flute killed his thing.
Okay. Weird.
Everyone in chat
oh,
can
I
hear
bet
everyone.
it's like trying to come through here or something. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry guys. I've
Anyways.
oh my god. Windows has decided that this was going to be my default sound card.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Good shit.
Thank
good
you,
shit.
Windows.
That's incredible.
Wow.
What was I saying? Oh, so my banger video idea. This comes from my friend Jesse in Nashville. We were talking about my Sweetwater trip, and he was like, you know what would make a great video is like a back rooms, because he was like, you do really like cool cinematography stuff. So he was like, a really cool like cinematic video of a Sweetwater backrooms thing where you're going around the Sweetwater building and it's some guy pops out and he's like, hey, it's Matt from Sweetwater again. And you're just like trying to escape him. And I was like, I feel like that video would do some numbers.
Yeah. I just wanted to know if you needed help with your pick. That you
Yeah.
were
How's those
from.
guitar strings treating you?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, every time I would walk in the door, he would just like pop out, or, I'd open a guitar case trying to find a guitar and there'd be like a note from Matt from Sweetwater. And it was like, that video would be hysterical.
Somebody posted to my Discord a picture of they got called by Sweetwater. They were like, hey, it's your rep here. They left a voicemail. They're like, I wanted to know how that MIDI cable was treating you.
I have one where like I think I posted it to my SoundCloud where it's just a voicemail from a Sweetwater guy, and he's like, hey Ben, Tommy with Sweetwater here. So do you know of a musician called Wisp? who's like another, and
Yeah.
he's like, yeah. So like I met Reed Dunn recently, which means fucking Reed ordered a cable, and so like, and then he was like, are you familiar with Wisp? You should really listen to his stuff because your flashbulb stuff sounds much like hit. And it was just like and I have like a couple voicemails from him, just like
he's just
like
discovering something. He's like,
yeah, just like
about this.
doxing Wisp, just like, dude, chill out. And like, but I've never ordered anything from Sweetwater, so it's so funny too, because it's just like that one order and you're just called for the rest of your life.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, don't
All right,
say Matt from Sweetwater 3 times at midnight.
I gotta go walk the dogs and then
Yeah.
make some dinner.
It's
But
been
this
our
was
2
really fun,
hours.
everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good times.
For doing it again.
Next competition next time or something.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
I-
thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. And I will. Yeah.
Thank you for presenting.
Yeah. I've presented a lot. Yeah. I'm tired from presenting. All right. Well, thanks for
everybody
watching,
in the
everybody.
chat for
That was fun.
for asking and stuff.
Thanks
Questions
for listening
and the
to our
like.
podcast. Okay. All right.
The end. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.